In the name of God, Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer. Amen.
Amen.
Annual meetings are a chance to look backward and to look forward, to see where we have been in this last year, and to consider where we might be going forward in this next year. So I bet there's not a rector on the planet that doesn't look back to last year's annual meeting address to see what was said in order to prepare for this one, and I did the same thing. Confession is always good for the soul. What a difference a year makes as I look back. What a difference a year makes. You might recall that last year's meeting was devoted to exploring building renovation and renewal, and a little recap about that in a moment. And I began my comments then by saying that I had told the vestry that September, so this was in September of 22, that I was more optimistic about St. Michael's than at another time in my ministry. So let me begin this report by saying that I am now more realistic about St. Michael's and its ministry and what might be possible for its future. Which is not to say that I don't still have a vision and some ideas and some areas I would love to see us grow in, and some have emerged in last year. But it is to say that I think I'm more realistic about what is possible now for this community and at this point in my ministry. I continue to be encouraged by the wonderful people who are on our staff that exercise their ministry with us and for us. I think you know most all of these people, particularly Kathy Curran, who is our faithful sexton repair person, Mary Gage in the office, Stephanie Dean, our staff cantor and singer. And by the way, if you need singers for any occasion, contact Stephanie. And Stephanie has the contacts to bring singers to you. Renee Brown, who's been with us just over 6 months, and we're an choir director. It's a joy to work with and bring some new perspectives on our music. And Emily Fishwick in the office as bookkeeper, and if there's a penny missing, she can find it. Efficient, very efficiently, and absolutely wonderful. I'm encouraged also by the fact that there are new faces here that have joined in the last year. And I think I have most of the names right, but let's see. Coretta, Mark, and Candy. Is that right there? Welcome. Nice to have you here this morning. Edna, AJ and Max. That table there. Been with us for a few months. Jennifer McGee, I think it is. Have I missed anyone?
There's a little one there.
Yes. There's a little one. Monroe, who I love watching crawl down the aisle on Sunday morning with Tracy crawling together and bring her back. Then we also have Gus and Mrs. Svensson and his wife Julie and their 2 boys. They have been with us for several months. They're professional bell ringers. We put them to work there. I think that's a good list, I hope, of everyone who's with us. Which is good. Because I think we all will admit that 2023 was a heavy year for losses. We lost a lot of people in 2023. There's an old saying that these things happen in clusters. I'm not sure that's true, but every once in a while it sure feels like it. We lost a lot of people. We commended them to God's eternal care and love. They were faithful in attendance and support and ministry. But that is the organic characteristic of church communities, where we are a gathering of people, the same people, more or less, every week with additions and subtractions, but the same people whose common lives become one life and entity. And so the changes of life, birth and death, are visible and shared and experienced by everyone. I think that's the poignancy of the community. It's also something that's difficult to reconcile with every once in a while. It was a difficult year for me. So back to what we talked about a year ago, and what we're going to talk about this coming year. We spent a good deal of time and some dollars exploring options for developing the property. We looked at a residential age-dependent housing project. That was our first plan, and there were challenges. What to save of the building, what to demolish, how to fit in a new structure in and around existing construction, how to pay for it, and who would lead the effort. To be honest, I think there were too many variables to pull it off successfully here. Probably there would have been much community resistance. We found that out in talking with neighbors. What I've discovered in subsequently doing more research about these kinds of projects is that you need some other ingredients. They work better in urban communities, which this is not, with a demonstrated need for multifamily housing, a zoning code that emphasizes density, public support, and enough leadership in the church to see it all prevail. And I think those things, when you look at all of that, just made that just a tough sell, a big lift, something that really is not going to be practical here. That's not to say that we didn't learn anything from that. So we pivoted to Plan B, which was taking some of the design elements and improvements from the residential plan to enhance the building that we've got and perhaps attract another user. What they would say if you're in the mall industry or the building industry, an anchor tenant, would somebody else come in to be part of our structure and to help us financially as well as spiritually? For a while, that looked like the Helm, the provider of senior services in the Grosse Pointes. They were interested in developing an adult daycare center, and we believed that the present thrift shop space would be perfect for their needs. But again, for many reasons, pretty much all on their side of the equation, and all of which made sense, last fall, they decided not to pursue the project with us. And you might have been following that if you're a Grosse Pointer and get the paper. One of the big issues was paying. Isn't it funny how often it comes down to money? Honestly. Paying for it through a millage question, which was not able to be put on the ballot in enough time to get that underway, and they're pursuing that now to see if they can fund the adult daycare program or to fund the Helm in general. So that was one of the big factors. But anyway, that was a tough decision on their part and tough for us here. But once again, we learned a lot through this exploration of possibility. There are parts of the building, rooms and spaces, that can be improved. Bathrooms are completely non-ADA compliant and have been for decades. They could use upgrading. There could be realignment of rooms and function. We could renovate the lounge for safety and flexibility. These are just several possibilities. Along with the above, there is a big list. It's 6 pages long, if you'd like a little bedroom reading. When I was having trouble sleeping this week, I got that list out. And about 2 pages in, I was snoring away. There is a huge list of things that were not even considered as part of any of what we were talking about. So now we'll put some dollars to those items and see where that takes us in this. So that is where we were last year, which brings us up to this year. A lot has changed, but we've learned a lot. And like Peter and James and John, to be perfectly frank with you, there are moments I was terrified. You know, are we going to do this? Can we do this? What happens if we sign a $5 million loan? Can we pay it back? Not going to happen, of course. I mean, it was frightening, to be honest. I mean, contemplating the future is frightening. It's all through the gospel. It's a good of us to be here, but in the meantime, Jesus, what do we do? You know, we're going to have to go back down this mountain. And you just told us you're going to die. This is not where we want to be. See? But you learn a lot in adversity. You learn a lot when you're struggling with the future. You'll hear shortly from Janet, our faithful treasurer. I'll leave the details to her. But as in last year, you will learn that we are grateful again for an anonymous donor who made an unrestricted gift of $30,000 to us, who is the same anonymous donor who made the previous year a gift of $50,000 to us. This is the best kept secret in St. Michael's. I think Emily and this donor meet behind the dumpster at Kroger's is the only thing I can think of. Because I have not seen this person. I believe this person exists because I believe Emily. But somehow this happens and then the money is in the checking account. So whoever it is, we are very, very thankful. You will hear that we are predicting yet again a $1 drop in pledge and open offering just because of what happens when we lose major donors. And a deficit in 2024 of, once again, about $50,000. That's the number that haunts us going forward. But Janet will also share the details with us. So in looking at the theme of this last Sunday after Epiphany, which I just mentioned, it is the Transfiguration. It is that story in Matthew, Mark, and Luke where Jesus takes John and James and Peter up on this mountain and he is transformed in radiant light, a precursor to the resurrection. So we have again that image of light now shining out of darkness into the lengthening of days and shining in the transfigured glory of Jesus on the mountaintop. A mountaintop to which we all are at many times in our lives, even as we come down. How interesting it is that our mission is we share the light of Christ by loving and serving our neighbors in the world. And after the glory of the Transfiguration, Jesus comes down that mountain along with the disciples back to the crowd, back to the people among whom they live and minister, back to the trying, difficult, challenging, doubtful, despairing circumstances of their lives, back to where the need is much greater than the resources they have, back to people who need to hear the gospel message. No wonder they want to stay on that mountain and build dwellings and just be happy forever after. But they have to come down to life. They continue to share the light of Christ by loving and serving their neighbors in the world. So for this 2024, we will continue to do just that. Let's find new ways to share the light of Christ. Let's pick up on aspects of our building that can be changed so that we can better share that light of Christ, not only to the comfort and support of people who come here, but the comfort and support of people we serve. Let us explore ways that we can embrace new members who also share the light of Christ. We have them. And let's think a little bit about how we might have more. There's been a proposal to more fully address that question and those challenges. What is it about us that we could change or expand or enhance? What would draw in new members, active and inactive? We have, as I said, some new folks who have offered to help with that. We might begin by asking questions rather than coming up with ideas. You know, sometimes you jump so quickly to the solution without asking the right question. For example, we might ask them, what brought you to St. Michael's? What keeps you here? How are you being sustained in your faith? What ideas do you have for sharing the light of Christ? And if we sit and listen, which for Episcopalians in general and clergy in particular is difficult, if we sit and listen, I bet we'll learn a lot. Maybe, like Peter in today's gospel, they'll tell us why it does feel good to be here. And that will strengthen us as we continue to seek what is God's will for St. Michael's Church. And that we might indeed all know that it is indeed good for us to be here. In the name of God, Creator, Redeemer,